Oh, it's November, kind of late in the year, and I'm looking for pine mushrooms. I just found this beauty #1 pine. It's the only one I found. It's a little spot. I'm not going to tell anyone where it is, but I'm stoked. So hopefully I find some more. But there's one right there. This time of year, not much out there. Winter chanterelles, hedgehogs, pines, maybe if you're lucky, the odd bolete. I'm gonna just check some various spots, and if we find cool stuff, I'll show you what we get. So I checked another spot. I found a few more. Not all these are as nice as the first one I found, but we have this #1 here, little button. Perfect. Doesn't look like there's any worms in it either. The good thing about late season pines is it's colder, there's less worms. You get pines in the summer on the coast occasionally, but very often they're full of worms. So late season pines are actually better. This one here, you can see there's some holes right around here. Could be worms. I'll have to cut it open to see. But hopefully not. This one's, the veil has opened, but it's still quite small and firm. This one here is more of a flag. It's quite a big one. It's I guess it'd be classified as a #3. It seems pretty firm. I don't think there's any worms in it. Let's hope not. Yeah, it's quite a large one. And then this one here, the veil is, this would technically, I think this would be a #2 because it's got the veil intact mostly, but it is starting to open. I think in #1, technically, the veil has to be fully on. #2, partial veil, and #3s and 4s typically don't have a veil left. This is actually a really nice mushroom. Good eating size, nice and firm. Nice cinnamony smell. With pines, the best way to tell is the kind of brown sugar coloring on the top. The smell, very cinnamony and firm. The stalk and the cap will be very firm. There's a look-alike out on the coast here that you come across quite often that I sometimes have went up to thinking it's a pine, but right away when you grab the stalk it will crumble. It's very crisp and not nearly as hardy. The pines are hardy. When you slice one of these up, it's almost like slicing up a piece of meat. This could be a good find. Very late season, but this is a porcini, which is also called king bolete, but I think it's too far gone. Yes, it's been full. No dice. Went out again the next day, found this bad boy. Gotta clean it off a bit. It's a #2, mostly veil intact. And then I got this little guy, which has got a couple of bug bites on the top. So I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna cut it up. Also, got a handful of yellow feet, which is another name for winter chanterelle, and hedgehogs. So here we are there. The yellow feet look a lot like a chanterelle. They're smaller. They have the gills running into the stalk, a lot like a chanterelle, but the big difference is they have a dimple in the top, as you can see, and the stalk is hollow. They grow right into the winter till like about December, why they're called winter chanterelles, and they're really tasty. I actually probably prefer them to regular chanterelles. And then I found a couple of hedgehogs, which are these guys. And they're called hedgehogs because they have this fur underneath. Here, I'll grab one. This fur underneath, it's like a fine hairs, kind of like a hedgehog. And at times, the top will fold right over, and the whole thing will be covered with the fur. That's why they call them the hedgehog. And this hedgehog, there's a couple different variations. This one's not as big. There's another variety that gets bigger. And it's has a solid top, but these guys have a dimple in the top, and the stalk is hollow. But they're still edible. They're very similar looking. They don't get as big as the other variety. as far as flavor is concerned, I'm not really sure if they're much different. But yeah, still mushrooms to find, even in November. Just not as many and different varieties. But it's nice to be able to forage food even as winter starts. Looks like I found a patch here, quite a good patch, but it does look pretty late. Some of these are definitely going to have worms. But you'll see a lot of them pop up. Someone's been through here, but I'm going to just grab what I can and see what happens. Unfortunately, it looks like most of them have some worms in them. I'm going to have a look through them. Hit up another bank up there and found a couple. Were mostly wormy, but I did find a nice number one here, a little button. Alright, so we're going to open this thing up. Make sure it's not full of worms. The way I like to do it is I'll take the bottom, I'll cut it off. You'll see here. And usually for that you can see there's no holes. If there's a lot of worms in here, you're going to see little holes all through there. So this one looks good. It should be good. It was just popping through the dirt. There was only about that much of it showing through the dirt. So what I usually do with them then is I will cut them in strips about an eighth to a quarter inch thick down. And each strip I'll have a look inside, make sure there's no trails. If you see trails, there's probably worms in those trails, so I'll oftentimes just throw that out. So, alright, let's start cutting this up. Another one, no worms, that's good to see. Oh, the fragrance in this is unreal. Alright, and then I'll come down the stalk, like that, whole way, get a nice slice like that. So firm, it almost squeaks when you cut through it like rubber. And we can see here that there was a worm starting to travel up this one corner, so we'll just cut that out and it's fine. This will get thrown and I'll keep going. So yeah, you can see that worm trail is in there, so we're gonna just keep slicing, and as we're slicing I'm just gonna cut where that worm trail is out. See the worm trail here, and that's all the worms it looks like. There's that one little trail, which is pretty good. It's pretty hard to find a West Coast pine without any worm trails in it. So this is a good one, quite large too. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll just finish cutting it up a bit. Wipe some of this dirt off there. Pines are nice because you can actually kind of wash them off without ruining the mushroom. Chanterelles and some of the other varieties do not like the water, and they get really mushy and ruined, so you can just wipe them. Pine, you can give them a little rinse without really ruining them because they're such a hardy mushroom. Now we're going to check this little guy. I'm pretty sure it's full of worms. This little guy here. See, it's been chewed on pretty good, but I want to just show you. Inside's good, so he might have just been eaten on the outside, so I'll give it a cut. There's definitely a couple of little wormholes there, but the stalk is good. It looks like something was eaten on the top of this guy. More wormholes. So I'll just cut down. Yeah, this one's pretty much no good. You can see in there they really chewed into it. Yeah, as you can see, this one's no good. So at least we got the big guy. As you can see, pines, very firm, also very wormy, but delicious mushroom. Not super common on the West Coast, but you do find them, and when you do find them, definitely grab them and give them a try because they are delicious.